All right, let's call the meeting to order. This is the April 15th meeting of the Allendale County Council. I want to call on Mr. Robinson. Sorry, I'm used to where we are. Indication, Mr. Robinson.
Yes. Let us pray. Oh, Heavenly Father, we beseech Thee as we gather this evening, asking for thy continuous blessing with wisdom, knowledge, and understanding as we partake in the governance of our beloved county. These and all blessings we ask in our holy and most merciful name we pray. Amen.
Amen. All right, next on the agenda is motion to approve agenda.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nays have the same right. All right. Approval of March 25th minutes.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. All right, welcome everybody to the Allendale County Council meeting. If you guys are bored enough around the world to watch us on YouTube, thank you all for tuning in for YouTube tonight. We're on the World Wide Web for the first time. I guess first on the agenda tonight's going to be council comments, public comments. We're going to ask Mr. Ann Rice. Come on, Miss Ann.
Hello?
About the cleanup coming up.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, is cleanup. We've gotten a lot of volunteers so far to join us next Friday and Saturday to clean up, but we still need more. But I did want to tell everybody that we will have 3 pickup places to get gloves and vests and bags, and that will be the Town Hall in Allendale, Farmers Grain in Ulmer, and the Municipal Building in Fairfax. And for the bags of trash that are gathered, people will need to take them either to there'll be a container at the Town Hall in Allendale, one adjacent to the Municipal Building in Fairfax, and one at Farmers Grain. Or you can take it to the nearest convenience center. We just don't have the manpower to go picking up bags, so we're asking everybody to take care of their own. I would also ask people to take pictures and let me know how many bags of trash they picked up, so we kind of have an idea of what we're doing. But there are areas that I really need help with, and one is Fairfax, Teresa. I don't have many volunteers in Fairfax yet. Now, I'm going to town council Monday night, but we really need some help at Fairfax. And I need somebody to volunteer for the 3 boat landings, because those need cleaning. Those always need cleaning. And 641 going out of Sycamore, and 278 coming out of Allendale, and 125 coming out of Allendale. I've got further along covered, but those areas I don't have covered. Of course, there are places in the neighborhood, I'm sure, but if people would just volunteer to do a block in their neighborhood, it would be a help. And I think it starts sending the message to all these people that are throwing trash out. We just need to stop all this. So, and I have these flyers, if y'all would pass them around to people. Scan and send them to people. So maybe we can start getting the name of either the cleanest county in the state.
That's hope so.
Sure.
Yes, sir.
I just got a homeowner who's watching us on YouTube saying there's no volume.
No blame.
Yeah.
Donnie, excuse me. Have someone watching on YouTube so we don't have any internet audio.
If anybody in the audience, I have these flyers.
I just had 2 people come through and said everything was coming through fine.
Okay.
Maybe it's when Ann was talking up here, you said everything's going through. Okay.
Well, this is the first time, we're gonna have fun with
Okay,
it.
hey, that's fine. Thank you.
You got to fine tune it.
Oh, yeah. That's it, Miss Ann?
Is that?
Okay, thank you for doing what you're doing too. All right, next we have Wes McFadden. Wes, you and I have been going back and forth about 2 months. Again, sorry to hear about your loss.
Thank you so much.
Wes is with the Armed Care Network. They're like a helicopter service for the county. He's got an option for our employees, and he's gonna let me present it to the council, let him do his little sales pitch. So it's all up to you, Wes.
Thank you very much. Yep, my name is Wes McFadden, and I represent the Air Medcare Network program on behalf of Global Medical Response. Here locally, you would best recognize us as CareFlight, located in Walterboro, South Carolina, Colleton County. Also, Medicare Air in Charleston. We're the preferred provider for MUSC Children's Hospital. Those are 2 of 7 helicopters we have servicing the state of South Carolina. 8 aircraft if you include our fixed wing, which is hangared in the upstate. Normally, I would give a little bit more of a background on our organization as a whole, and if there's a little bit of time at the end, I will, because I think it bears relevance to the program itself. But I'm going to jump right into the program just in lieu of time. The Air Medcare Network program is a simple member-based program that we offer, whereby if, God forbid, you or anyone that lives under the roof of your house, whether they have family or not, non-traditional household members are included as well. There's a fairly healthy bill that comes along with that emergency medical transport, and unfortunately it's one that a lot of insurance doesn't cover or will cover only a small portion of, and it can leave folks with some pretty substantial out-of-pocket expense. Normal circumstances when we fly a patient, like any healthcare provider, we're going to file through the patient's insurance for payment for the flight. And regardless of participation in this program, we do advocate on behalf of the patient and go to work on their behalf to try to get as much from the insurance company or companies as possible. We file through the appropriate carriers in the appropriate order. After those efforts are exhausted, if there's a balance left over, that's going to be patient responsibility. So naturally, that would be your deductibles, your copays, your coinsurance, any unpaid portion of the bill charges. As a member of Air Medcare Network, if you're flown, same process is going to happen. The only difference being is that if there's a balance left over, it's considered prepaid in full, so you have no out-of-pocket expense for the flight. Uninsured, underinsured, insurance company denies that claim in total, you have no out-of-pocket expense. Again, it's a household membership, so it covers everyone that lives under the roof of your house. One person, 10 people. They don't even have to be traditional family. They just have to reside under the roof because it flags to where the insurance is being billed to. But unlike insurance, there's no pre-existing conditions. There's no age limitation, no premium, no deductible. Residency in the home is really the only stipulation. If there's a drawback to the program, it's this. It's where we function like an insurance. We're not an insurance company. We're an air ambulance company, so it's a membership program versus an insurance product, which means it works with our provider network aircraft only. It doesn't reciprocate with service providers outside of our network. We just have the good fortune now to be the biggest membership air ambulance network now in the world, the dominant provider in South Carolina with 8 aircraft servicing the state, and in close proximity to you with our helicopter in Walterboro in Colleton County. It's unlimited flight coverage for as long as you're a member, which means I hope in a million years you never have to go for that ride, but there's no limit to how many times the membership can be employed by anyone under the roof of the house. And then it protects you not only here in the backyard, but everywhere that we have a base across the United States. To date, that's a little north of 320 helicopter and airplane ambulance locations across 39 states and growing, including Alaska and Hawaii. I've had the privilege of speaking with Chairman Gooding, Rick Gooding, over the past couple of months, and he's been very candid with me about the county and some experiences that you all have had in the past with another service provider. You're not alone. There's been some neighboring counties that have experienced the same issue, and I've been in discussions with them as well. My interest in coming before you here tonight is not so much to present this as a county-wide benefit, but merely as a voluntary benefit for the county workforce. The thought behind it being is if we can target maybe the major employers in the county, then by word of mouth and osmosis it works its way out into the citizens, so at least they know that it's here and they have access to it. The membership program is very, very inexpensive. Our standard non-business rate for a one-year membership, meaning if we just met at the grocery store, is $85 a year to cover a household. When we do a business plan with a business, we discount the membership fee based on the size of the workforce, i.e. the number of employees. Based on the county workforce size, that would make the one-year membership $65 a year. A 3-year membership, $185. A 5-year membership, $300, and a 10-year membership, $575. If you all will allow your employees access to the membership as a voluntary benefit, meaning through payroll deduction, what that means for them is if they break it up over 26 pay periods, it makes the one-year membership $2.50 a paycheck post-tax deduction. The 3-year, $7.12 a paycheck post-tax deduction. The 5-year, $11.54, and then the 10-year, $22.12. And it's a unique pay plan or payroll plan because at the end of the year, once those deductions are completed, the employee now owns that membership. So hypothetically, if you as an employee purchase a 3-year membership, at the end of the deduction period, those deductions will stop because the membership is now paid for in full. the next 2 years of membership belong to that employee regardless of their status as an employee. So if somebody retires, moves on to greener pastures, whatever the case might be, the next 2 years or 4 years or 9 years of membership belong to that individual. It would travel with them. So essentially what you would be doing is fronting that money and recouping it over a predetermined number of pay periods. The membership is available direct to consumer. We have people in the field marketing this direct to consumer as well. If you allow your workforce access to it as a payroll deduct, it just makes it a little bit more palatable for the lower salaried and hourly employees where, you know, maybe coming out of pocket $185 is a little bit more than they can handle at one time versus, you know, $7.12 a paycheck for 26 paychecks. That's kind of a quick run through. I know I'm limited on time, so I'll open it up to whatever questions that you all have.
What if these employers join or individuals join? What kind of a guarantee of insurance that the last time we got into a deal, the helicopter company went belly up, and everybody, you know, that money was gone.
Yeah, well, they didn't go belly up. They just closed up shop. They pulled up stakes. Yeah, I understand. It doesn't.
And we were out of our money, basically.
Exactly, and I understand. Air Medical Group Holdings, we've been around for over 35 years now, 36 years now. The membership program has been in place just as long. We have north of 3.5 million members nationwide. Shortly after that happened with the other service provider, I was contacted by Hampton County. They reached out to me. I actually came around to several of the different counties that participated in that plan. We actually put a countywide proposal together for them, but it was just a little bit more than what they wanted to pay. So again, that's when the next best solution was, okay, let's target the major employers, see of those who wants to participate. Again, it's making it available. Those that want to register can, and then hopefully by word of mouth it works its way out into the community. So last year we did Hampton Regional Medical Center, had good participation with them, Hampton County School District. What I would forecast, what I typically forecast is about 25% of your workforce to participate in year one. In reality, it's more like 19 or 20%. Now, that being said, if somebody's been transported recently and there's chatter around the water cooler about the bill that they got, you might see a little bit higher participation, but on average, it's been pretty close to 19, 20% participation.
Another question, you being stationed in Walterboro, somebody has an emergency, say in the front yard of the courthouse, how quick will it take you to get a helicopter here?
Well, typically in terms of flight time, whatever the driving time is from here to there, divide that by 2, and that'll give you kind of a good rough estimate in terms of what the flight time from point A to point B. Absolutely. So we have pre-designated landing zones all over the state. Your first responders, EMS and fire will probably know best where those are located here within the county. Typically what the helicopter will need conservatively is about 100 feet by 100 feet with no limbs or wires or anything sticking up from the ground that can puncture the skids. You've got about a 300 to 400 mile an hour rotor wash coming off those props, so obviously any kind of debris in the area could create an obstacle for that. But your first responders should have those pre-designated landing zones mapped out, and we have those in GPS in the helicopter as well. If we need to shut down a road, we shut down a road if we need to.
How many helicopters do you operate?
Here in the state, 7, 1 fixed wing, collectively around the United States, north of 320.
All of them occupied, you get another emergency call, what do you do?
Well, there's some days where nobody's flying due to the weather. If the weather's bad, nobody's in the air. If the helicopter's unavailable, if it's with another patient, if we don't have another one the next closest one, if that one's tied up, then they'll run them by ground to the closest facility that can care for them.
One last question.
Yep.
And, let me get clear on this, and not exactly. You say membership for industry or business for their employees is $85 a year?
So that's our standard non-business rate. So if you and I met at the grocery store and you're like, I would really like one of these for my household, and you didn't qualify for any other discount, that's our retail or standard non-business rate.
All right, let's take mine. Let's take 10 employees. I pay you basically $85 a year. All of my employees can ride in your helicopter to the hospital.
Correct. So we would fly you regardless of participation in this program. You know, you don't need to be a member of this. This is just going to spare you the out-of-pocket expense if you do go. As far as a business plan goes, we require only a minimum of 3 to participate. So regardless of your size, we base it off of the potential, not on actually how many enroll. So again, you fall into our first tier of discount based on your total size of workforce, but all we need is 3 to participate to qualify for a business plan.
Okay. typically without insurance or without your cost, from Allendale to University Hospital in Augusta, what would it cost somebody to ride there in your helicopter?
I mean, it could be thousands and thousands of dollars.
What do you mean by thousands?
The least expensive bill I've seen in my experience, and this is the only reason I know this, is because that information is typically proprietary. The only reason I know this is because it was a neighbor and close friend, but his daughter got flown to Allendale to MUSC Children's Hospital from Allendale. It was a $29,500 flight bill. $29,500, correct. And that's probably one of the least expensive ones that I've seen in my experience doing this.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else got any questions?
Yes, sir.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, and please know, we will fly you regardless of participation in this program. This is just, we offer, I always joke with people and say it comes down to you want the big bill or the little bill if you have to go. But know that we would fly you regardless of participation in this if needed. So I really appreciate the opportunity to bend your ear, and if you have further questions, Councilman Gooding has my contact.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Again, sorry for the delay. I totally understand. All right, next, going to public comments. Excuse me, visitors. Mr. Joey Oswald, County Appeals Committee.
Is it okay to?
Yeah, you can. Yes, sir. Thank you for coming in. We'll be in touch.
Yes, ma'am. This one is ours.
Mr. Oswald?
All right, now, Bill had called and asked me if I would come speak. What do y'all want to know exactly? I mean, I can tell you, you want me to just start and explain where we are right now?
Explain the mess we're in.
Well, I don't think we're in too bad a mess. All right. Originally, when the taxes started using the soil classes and soil types to base how much taxes were charged per parcel or per acre, or however it's figured by the soil class. There are 7 soil classes, and then they are divided into cropland and timber. So actually, this could be 14 different assessments to each parcel. And there are parcels that have cropland and timber on the same parcel. So it gets complicated. And the problem that we found was in this, when they were classing the soils, they just classed them as all cropland. I mean, no, excuse me. There are some soil types like Coxville fine sandy loam, and then there's the Coxville fine sandy loam undrained. The undrained are usually down in the swamps where the timber grows. It doesn't call it drain, but the Coxville fine sandy loam is usually being farmed. It's cropland. So the one that is being farmed in cropland would have been classed as a 3, and undrained it would be classed as a 6, and that's in cropland. And if it was in timber, the undrained would be a 6, and the other one would be a 2 in timber. So it's a lot of variation. And all they did when they went down in Harvey and Hattie, and I know they had some help. Hattie and Harvey and I had a good conversation. They didn't look at all these 1,600 soil names, not soil types, but 1,600. And you would have to look at every one. You would have to, when they got the soil type, they would have to pull this out and look to see whether it was drained or not. And they didn't do that because they didn't have any idea that it was that particular. But that's the problem in Harvey and Hattie and I, when we visited, they said they were going to go over all of the tax maps for my farm first and then see how that came out. And I think Hattie said they've just about completed mine. And this is going to take a long time to get it corrected because you've got to look at every parcel and you've got to look at every soil type and you got to see whether it's drained or undrained. And it makes a big difference in the price of the, in the class, just like that soil type that I said was a class 3 would be devalued at $161, and you go to and this is in cropland, and you go to a 6, it's at 43. So see, that's almost $120 difference in value. And you go to timber, it would go from 213 to 76. So they've got a big job ahead of them to go back and reclass this. I don't know how long it's going to take, but it's not going to be overnight. We don't know whether the 20% that was deducted because of the appeals is going to take care of it. I don't think on my farm, I don't think that I'm going to probably have to pay some of that 20% back on mine, because we don't have enough in the low end of swamps and timber to take care of that 20%. That's my opinion now. They haven't finished it yet, so I don't know. There's going to be some that you go on taxes back to that possibly, because there's more in the swamp than it is in cropland. It's just going to vary by parcel.
Let's get it right, that's my concern. Let's get it right, get it straightened out, and go forward from there.
Say what now?
My concern, let's get it right, and let's go forward from there.
That's right.
I think
It will take time, and hopefully maybe we'll have it before they send out the next tax notices.
Joey, thank you for working on this so hard, I appreciate it. Mr. Robinson?
Just one question for
Yes,
Joey.
sir.
Just remember, several years ago when I saw one of those maps, they kind of laid out the whole county, and if I remember correctly, he had a slide share of the county property, and you had a number. And then you had another slide share, you had a number. But what I'm hearing from you, that big number, say for instance, it's a 3, but under that 3, you may have 400 different.
That's correct.
Okay.
That is correct. It's a lot. It's not a lot of soil types, but they're soil names. Just like, you got a Coxville. There's 15 Coxville names, but that one soil type. But there's 15 different classifications in it.
And you got to pick the right one.
You got to pick the right one. And I see Ann Rice in here, and I don't want to pick on you, but I did look at some of yours in Savannah River Swamp, and you were going to be disappointed, because they have. I'm just warning you, because the Savannah River Swamp has #1 soil type, and it's not drained or undrained. It's just, it's got some good.
Flooded though.
Ma'am?
It's flooded.
I understand that, but they class it, you'd have to, and all this information that I'm giving you, just like we have all appealed, that appeal doesn't work here in the county. You have to act, if you're not happy with your soil type, this is for you, because I know yours is going to be, you're not going to be happy.
Joey,
Sir?
if you could take that statement and tell DOE, I've been telling them for years that our land on that site is more valuable than what Baltimore and Aiken may have, simply because it's on the water. It's a #1 type salt.
They're not basing it because it's on the river. They're basing it because it's prime timber growing soil.
Enjoy. All like 10,000 acres is prime timber salt.
But now the Coosahatchee Swamp and the Salkehatchee Swamp have more of the one that are drained or undrained than Savannah River Swamp does. And I don't know why. You'd have to go back to the NRCS to do it. And they said that's what you got to do if you want to appeal it. You got to appeal back to NRCS if you're not happy with your soil type. Nothing we can do here in the county to take care of that. But Harvey, and they gonna take care of this. And Harvey and I also talked about the appeal board. He said he wanted to know why we formed it, and I said because of this problem. He said, well, after we settle this, do you think we're gonna need it? I said, well, we probably gonna keep it, I'm assuming. But as far as he's been, there's never been any appeals. He's always handled every problem that ever came up. So I don't think this appeal board's gonna be used a whole lot.
Could I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
Who's gonna take care of, working the formula out?
The assessor's office.
You, how many people do you have helping you? This seems like a forever project.
Well, if I may, Mr. Chair.
You all right? Pull your mask down a little bit.
I said, if I may, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
As Joey just said, now that list that Joey has there in front of him, and Bill and Mr. James all previously the council received information from our office. That list there is not a list that the Allendale County Assessor Office came up with. That list came from the soil conservation book. And so what Mr. Oswald did was came in, he sat down, spoke with Harvey and myself, and he presented a piece of information that Sandy Houck gave to him that Harvey had not previously had when all this stuff started back up in 2018, or wherever it was back there. Had Harvey had that information then, we probably wouldn't even be having this discussion
Probably
right
so.
now. So what Harvey did when he generated the tables for us to use, and GIS or WTH produced the soil layer for the GIS map for us, again, as he stated, drained and undrained was not a part of the conversation.
My question is, how are you confident that you can get it straightened out?
Yes,
Okay.
because as Mr. Oswald said, it's not gonna apply to all 20 or however many people that appealed. Everybody's not gonna get what Mr. Oswald's gonna get, but we're gonna go through those persons who appealed and look at what they have, see if there's a drain or undrained for them. Harvey and Mr. Oswald and myself had a conversation. We found a happy number that we could come up with to use for those persons, and hopefully that should get us a clean slate, and we, as you all just said, move forward.
to be a process.
Well, when they finish, when,
Because again, it's not gonna apply to
But
everybody. and as he
you're
just
confident
said-
you can do it?
Yes, sir, we
All
do.
right, hold you to it.
Okay.
When they finish tomorrow, I'm gonna check it and make sure that it's correct, because I understand it now.
Have you been happy with yours?
Well, no.
You gonna make Ann out
He's
happy?
happy with the resolution
I'm
that
happy with the resolution, yeah.
But Ann won't be happy.
But I
That's
need
what
to
you-
ask a question.
Yes, ma'am, go ahead. Yes,
It's
ma'am.
not gonna apply to everybody.
How about the people that didn't appeal and thought they were gonna?
We're gonna start with the appeals
How about those
first. We'll start with the people who appeal first, and then as time permits, because we're gonna soon be back in reassessment time. All this stuff is gonna take time, but again, we will start with the persons who appeal first.
But then
And work
others
our
will get
way
a
through.
chance.
Yeah, we'll work our way through, but it's, again, it's gonna take time. It's gonna take time.
So who can tell me my process then?
We might have to wait for her and then you know, read the full thing after you guys together.
It's not gonna apply.
Thank you, Joy, appreciate it.
Thank you, Joe.
I mean, LRC.
I know you're making big bucks, thank you for doing all this. Our next council reports, I guess I'm first on the list as chairman. Ms. Ann, I just want to thank you for heading up to cleaning up Allendale County, that's been a great project. And Donnie, thank you, you and I have been through a process this month trying to get this online, and I sort of appreciate your diligence, buddy. We online and I'm watching us now, so we're looking as good as we can look as a council, so thank you for doing that for us, I really appreciate that. Also, Bill, thank you. I know you've been in touch. You and I have been back and forth to QS1 about our accounting system all week. We've learned a lot, what we don't and do have, and thank you for doing that. And thank you for working late nights. And I know I aggravated you on Saturday and Sunday last week. I do appreciate that. But at least we're getting about where we stand. But thank you for doing that again. With that being said, I'm going to turn it over to someone else, Mr. Matthew Conley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't have much. I just want to report from the Parks and Recreation. As of, I guess, the first of the week, all county parks have reopened. I know a lot of people were happy to hear that, and I'd like to give thanks to Mr. James All and the Public Works crew. They went through and got all the grass cut and got everything cleaned up for all the parks. Also talked to Miss Lori Joyner, and baseball sign-up was very slow, but they are going to start it, and they're going to start baseball practice on Monday, and she's hoping once practice gets going that maybe it'll draw some more interest. And we will have a Parks and Recreation Commission formed after tonight, and we will have a meeting sometime very soon.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Conley. Mr. Robinson?
Thank you, Chairman. Just quickly, and just piggyback a little bit on recreation. We, on last Thursday, took all of the students in our golf program over to Crestwood Golf Course in Denmark. And my thanks to Mr. Kemper, who owns that. We were able to introduce the kids to golf in the proper setting. They enjoyed it, and he didn't charge us anything, so we were very happy.
Well, how'd the kids like it?
They liked it, and the question was, will you come back? So they were out.
Absolutely.
They were out at practice today, so.
Good, that's great.
Yes. Also, last Thursday, we had our Lower Savannah Council of Government meeting at the Clemson Research Center in Blackville. Very well-attended meeting. It's ongoing, and that's been our first in-person meeting for the year. So we were happy as a group to get back. You're talking about 36 board members, and I think we had about 30 there. So that was very good. Also had a virtual meeting with SCDOT this morning, basically talking about our Transportation Advisory Committee meeting, which will be held next Wednesday at the Clemson station there in Blackville. I've been getting a lot of comments about all the transportational work being done here in the county. We got about 2 to 3 intersection projects, and they're going quite well. DOT is very happy on the progress. They all will be completed on time. We're still negotiating with CSX for the 321-278 intersection in Fairfax. It's in the hands of the legal department at DOT, but that's going to be a good project. So the next one we're going to see here in the county will be the 125 Bluff Road intersection. There will be some work hopefully taking place I would say, third quarter of this year. And the intersection 125 and Highway 3, which is ongoing, should be completed. If you've passed through that area lately, you've seen the improvements. We've had a lot of accidents in that particular section of the county. The secondary roads here in the state of South Carolina, and Highway 3 is no exception. We've had a tremendous increase in traffic accidents. So you're going to see a lot of work being done on the secondary roads, not only in Allendale, but also throughout the region. So also, we've heard about the infrastructure bill that's being tossed around. A couple of weeks ago, and I'm sure Mr. Gideon probably received a notice of new projects. Our legislators have been asking for earmarked projects. And I hope the county can sit down with Clyburn's staff and Congressman Clyburn himself and talk about some of our transportational needs. One of the things that stick out in particular would be the frontage road from Airport Loop to Fairfax. I think that would be an ideal time to put such a project on the table. That would give us an alternate route when the train is on the tracks to get around and get back and forth to Fairfax. Also would be good for emergency vehicles. So I'm going to ask council to at least consider sitting down and trying to see, we're talking about maybe 1.5 to less than 2 miles, and hopefully get with CTC at some point to see if they can help. But I think earmarks, as you know, were kind of put off the table back in 2010. Now we're going to see some earmarks being placed back, so it may be an ideal time. Secondly, if you had that frontage road from Airport Loop down to Fairfax, you're going to open up almost 2,000 acres of prime economic development property. So I think it's something that we need to at least consider. Southern Carolina Alliance will tell you from Airport Loop to Fairfax, all that property we see on the left is in their portfolio to market. So it would certainly make sense. CTC, as you know, I was notified that my appointee from District 5, Frank Lewis, has resigned. And I will present a recommendation to council for his replacement. As you know, CTC, we make the recommendation, we send it to our legislators, and they say yea or nay. So that's what I'm going to be doing tonight. Also, let's talk about that. The animal shelter, Mr. Goodson and I, we spoke about that, and the tremendous amount of work that's been done at the animal shelters by some of our local citizens. And I've asked Mr. Goodson to bring it together and let's get a letter, a thank you letter to those donors. It's pretty huge what they're doing out there. And I certainly would advise citizens, if you get a chance, go out and visit the animal shelter. You'd be surprised the amount of work that's been done within the last, I would say, 2 to 4 weeks. And lastly, I have 2 other items we'll talk about in executive session. Thanks, sir.
Thanks, Councilman. Ms. Taylor?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. My report is just, my nominee for the Parks and Recreation appointee is Judge John Chaney. I won't reiterate what Mr. Robinson said, but I was glad to know that we met with Board of Savannah face to face. Our meeting will be back in the public and being able to see people. And the third thing is that I attended the Three Rivers meeting, and the tipping fee gonna go up $1. And that's my report, sir.
Okay. And how much, you say $1, excuse me,
$1.
Mr. Chairman? How much that would be?
$1
Is
tipping
it 30?
fee.
Is it 30 now, or 29.50, or 30.50?
I think it could be 30, I want to say 31, if I'm correct.
So we can go from 30 to 31,
Yes, it's
Effective?
gonna go up $1
effective.
next year.
All right, Mr. Goodson, your report is admin.
I just want to chime in on what you said, Rick. Thank you. We're working on the financial part of everything as far as the system goes. Also, Bill, you at the COG meeting, you said too that Allendale County has been allotted $1.67 million. That amount, that money has not been decided where it's going to go or when we're going to actually get it yet. I got some information I'm reading up on between the COG, more details about that. Am I right, Bill? I know
You're right.
Been
You're
using
right.
that at the COG board meeting.
There's 4 different areas that money will be used for.
Right.
And infrastructure, also for first responders.
Right.
And broadband. is
I
what
guarantee you broadband's in there, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
They love broadband, don't they?
Anything else I have for executive
Executive,
session?
okay. Our new business, Councilman Gooding, I guess Public Service Commission about the road closures.
Public Service Committee met. Public Service Committee is comprised of myself and the Honorable Mr. Conley. And so it was easy to get things passed with only 2 members. We had someone come to us and want to close the road. And for the life of me, I can't remember what the name of that road was, but we had pictures of it. And that's the most god-awful road that we've been maintaining I've ever seen. There's no way a car can go down it. Maintaining I've ever seen. There's no way a car can go down it. It had holes in it as big as Edgar Brown, the lake. And the pipes are all gone. And according to their lawyer and our lawyer, everybody, and Walter, everybody on that road had agreed that they no longer wanted to, okay, it's Groton Road and Stillwood Road located in the Groton area, and Allen Road located in Sycamore. And the Public Services Committee passed this with the stipulation, after everything is checked out, and everybody's in agreement, all the property owners in agreement for both, that we will recommend tonight to the Allendale County Council to go ahead and vote to close those 2 particular dirt roads.
Okay.
One other question. I'm talking about this money, and I don't know the criteria for using this federal money we're supposed to get. I believe when we get it, but could some of that money be used for this, our dog program? No?
No, sir.
Well, that's a much needed. So later on, the next meeting or 2, I'm going to recommend that we stipulate some money for the improvements out there. They've done a lot of work, but it's still, it's still ugly. We need to do something. Animals need to be treated better. But anyway, the little lady, Miss Mathis, has already drawn up some plans along with Vicky Scott and Beth and 2 or 3 more to make improvements out there that would be really beneficial, make the county look better, and treat the animals a lot better. So if we can't use any of that money, I'm going to recommend a motion that we stipulate some money in this next budget to handle that. That's forthcoming.
So I guess now we need to make a motion about as far as closing these roads. Am I understanding correctly?
I'll make the motion since Mr. Conley and I.
Well, Mr. Chairman, the motion should be that they will not oppose the closing of the road. The landowners will have to hire an attorney and go through, a legal process.
I thought he just said we had attorneys dealing with us. We don't have attorneys.
That they do have attorneys, but what they're asking the county to do is not oppose the closing of the road when they bring
I
the
see.
legal action.
Okay, well, I can understand that.
Okay.
I'll make the motion that the county council not oppose the closing of the road until everything is worked out, those 2 particular roads.
Let the lawyers handle it. All in favor?
Second.
I'm sorry.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nays have the same right? All right, pass. All right, I guess executive session's next. Need a motion?
Make a motion to go into executive session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, council, we're going into our old chambers tonight in executive session.
Do we have some?
Yeah, we got chambers back here, believe it or not. All right, we're going back into open session.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
make a motion that my appointee and recommendation for the CTC will be Mr. Lucius Williams.
Need a second?
Second.
All in favor? Nays had the same right?
Okay. Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
secondly, I'd ask that we have a county attorney revise the agreement with the Afro-American Cultural Center where the property description where the park is located be the only portion of that property that will be part of the 50-year lease.
Okay. We need a second on that, or?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nays?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
make a motion, we adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Got it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? We're out.